Peace, family. This is Dr. Kia Pruitt. It is December the 2nd, my paternal grandfather's heavenly birthday. So, happy birthday, Granddaddy. Or we used to call him Daddy. Fond memories of Daddy. So, it's December the 2nd, 2021, and it is about 5:43 p.m. I had a thought, and I wanted to share that with you today. And that thought is about being whole. I listen to a lot of videos because I am a lady. I listen to videos about womanhood and about being feminine. I really love those videos. I listen to dating videos, and I listen to videos about marriage and hypergamy and all those wonderful, juicy things that we are interested in. And I also listen to videos about collecting precious metals and what it means to be wealthy and how to build generational wealth. And as I was listening to those videos, I thought, wow, this is really amazing how so many people are teaching us how to elevate, how to be self-actualized. I think that's beautiful and it's amazing. One of the things that came to my mind, though, was how can you maintain your wealth that you build if you aren't in a place emotionally and psychologically to maintain it? And what benefit is it really to go through all these steps to level up physically and on the outside in order to get a mate if you don't know how to maintain that relationship? And what I noticed, having been a counselor and a life coach, is that a lot of people are encouraged to work on the exterior or the part of us that's on the outside without being encouraged to work on the internal, the issues that some of us have had. And I thought, and I said, that's very, very important to work on who you are as an individual, your issues. You may, some people deal with depression, a post-traumatic stress disorder, or body dysmorphia, where they don't like the way they look on the outside of the body. And all these things come from maybe some pain that we've suffered as children, or even in marriages or in relationships with our parents. And what I suggest, or what I want to offer to you today, is that although we have these wonderful opportunities and wonderful institutions and wonderful people teaching us how to work on the outside of ourselves, if we are not internally able to deal with it because we're not healed, because we haven't dealt with those issues, I have a question for you today. And that question is, wilt thou be made whole? Wilt thou be made whole? What do you mean, Dr. Pruitt? What do you mean by be whole? Let me give you a scripture. I believe it's St. John, the 5th chapter and the 6th verse, because I come from a background. I actually was raised in a Hebrew tradition, but we also believed in the Christ. And as I got older, I believed that Christ was a consciousness. So I do respect and reverence the Messiah as an individual, but I also understand what it means to have the consciousness of Christ, or Christos consciousness, to be awakened. But the scripture in St. John 5 and 6 is very important to me, because what had happened was, after a Jewish feast day, Jesus went to this place called the Pool of Bethesda. And at the Pool of Bethesda, there were people there that were lame. They couldn't walk. They were blind. Some couldn't speak. They had all these issues. They were sick. And so Jesus came upon this one man who was lying down. He had been sick for 38 years. Stay with me now. 38 years. And when Jesus walked past the man and he saw that he was sick and heard that he had been ill for 38 years, that's almost 4 decades, he looked at the man who was lying down by the pool on his bed, and he walked up to him and said, "Wilt thou be made whole?" In other words, are you willing to be healed? Are you ready to accept the healing that's available to you? Are you willing to be complete, to be healed, to be whole? I don't even know how else to say it. And the man said to him, "Master, there is nobody here to pick me up and put me in the pool where the water is troubled, so that I can be healed by the water." And let me explain to you what happened next. Jesus turned to the man, and I imagine in my mind, looked at him very sincerely and said, "Pick up your bed and walk." In other words, it's not enough just to say, "I'm ready to be healed." It's not enough to even stand by the pool where the water is troubled. It's not even enough to go to church and let somebody lay hands on you. What is important is not only just having the faith, but you've got to do some work. You've got to be willing to pick up yourself and walk in the healing yourself. What are you saying, Dr. Pruitt? I'm saying that a lot of us are working on the exterior, and a lot of us want to be rich. A lot of us want to have a relationship. A lot of us have these desires to look good, smell good, walk good, be feminine, yada, yada, yada. But what about your internal bruises? What about that aching feeling in the recesses of your soul? What about that? Wilt thou be made whole? Are you willing to do what it takes to get healed? So when I talk about being whole, let's look at the antonym of whole. The antonym of whole, or the opposite, would be fractured, severed, fractioned, broken up, broken asunder, in pieces. So the opposite of being broken, wounded, hurt, fractured, and in pieces is being complete and whole. You can be whole. Okay, I don't hear a lot of people talking about that. You can be complete. You can be fulfilled. You have the ability to be healed, to have the broken pieces of your heart put together. So what are some of the things that maybe make us feel unwhole? It could be the way your father treated you, like you weren't good enough. That nothing you did was good enough. Nothing you did satisfied him. It could be that your mother said some very disparaging words out of her mouth, and she may or may not know how deeply she hurt you. It could be church hurt. There's no hurt like church hurt, they say. Where the people in the church who were supposed to nurture you and treat you with love and respect may have shunned you because of your lifestyle. Maybe they said you were a drug addict and you didn't have the willpower to stop doing drugs. Or maybe you identify as gay or lesbian or something else, and the church shunned you and disrespected you. Or maybe you were just a woman and they made, I don't want to say just a woman, but they made you feel like being a woman wasn't good enough. Who knows why people do the things they do? But we do know they do things that are hurtful, because hurt people hurt people. Hurt people hurt people. And we're not giving them a way out. We're not giving them excuses. I'm just explaining it. But you don't have to stay in that condition. This man was sick for 38 years, 4 decades. And even when the Messiah walked past him, he had the excuse that there's nobody to lift me up. Some people would go to church and think that's just enough. Some people would do certain things and think that's just enough. But if you aren't willing to do the work, if you aren't willing to talk it out, if you aren't willing to do whatever it takes to seek some counseling in order to be made whole, to confront the people that have hurt you, I don't know what it takes, but I'm asking you today, wilt thou be made whole? Are you ready? Are you willing to be healed? Aren't you tired of being wounded? Aren't you tired of being hurt? Aren't you tired of allowing what happened in your past to dictate what you do and how you respond to people? Aren't you exhausted, not being completely fulfilled? Are you ready to be healed? Pick up your bed and walk, my sister. Pick up your bed and walk, my brother. Walk into that counselor's office. Walk into your spiritual healer's office. Walk into your meditational places and do whatever it takes to be made whole. Because once you are made complete and whole, that's when you'll have peace. That's when you'll have joy. See, this is why joy and peace evade us. This is why a lot of us have relationships that don't Last, because we are not whole, complete, healed, satisfied, fulfilled. We may not feel purposeful. So ask yourself, am I whole? Do I feel fractured? Am I unhappy? Am I sad? Am I depressed? Do I feel burdened? And how is it? How is this affecting me? Because I went through this. And so I said, this is just my personal belief. There are three parts of the person for me. There's the mind, the emotions. I'm sorry, the mind is the emotions, the body, and spirit. Mind, body, spirit. And for me, spirit is breath. The breath of life. Breath. Mind, body, spirit. So emotionally, I was in pain from some of the abuse I had endured. Yes, so that's it just I was depressed and stressed out. It was physically bothering me. I literally got physically ill and could not walk. It's crazy. Like my body just was attacked. You know how they say you have psychosomatic issues where if you're sick mentally, it can affect your body, and if you're sick physically, the pain or can disrupt your emotions. I was sick physically. And then, so I said, let me write this down. It's affecting my mind and my emotions. It's affecting my body, and it's affecting my spirit. You see, let me talk to you about spirit. If something affects your spirit or your breath, you actually breathe differently. A lot of people who breathe shallowly are wounded. A lot of people who are aggressive and use a lot of aggressive, angry, hateful speech, people who speak negatively a lot and almost everything they say, it's because they have not been made whole. So I wrote those things down, those three areas, mind or emotions. I put those two together for myself, physical or body, and spirit or breath. These are the areas. I was wounded in every single area. And I found a way to heal in every single area. But I had to do the work. For me, I went through years of therapy. Okay, because I couldn't control what the people did to me, but I could control my own personal life. I'm not accountable for what people did to me or how they did it, but I am accountable for my own joy. You are accountable for your own life and your own joy. And I went to the counselor's offices to heal my emotions. Physically, I started exercising. And one of my therapists, I think she was from China, Asian lady, when I lived in California, said to me, you need to learn mindfulness and how to do yoga. So we did mindful walking and yoga together. And that's how I was able to not only heal my body, but to heal my breath, my spirit. I learned how to breathe correctly. Did you know when you're stressed out or angry, you can actually incorporate breathing practices where you breathe from your diaphragm instead of out of your nose and mouth? Instead of breathing from your chest, breathe from your diaphragm. And that breathing can actually make you feel physically better. That breathing, doing Tai Chi or just deep breathing exercises or meditations or yoga, will actually change your mind and relieve stress, because the three are connected: the body, the mind, and the spirit. So look at your life. If you are the type of person that is very negative and you speak aggressively very often, or you speak hatefully, or people tell you why, they ask you why you always seem angry, or why is your voice so harsh, or why are you harsh in your treatment? That's your spirit that has been affected, your breath. So I want to encourage you today to take the time to be made whole. Do what it takes. Pick up your bed and walk. Now, let me say something. There was a scripture in the Bible where Jesus said, "Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect." Or "Be ye perfect, for I am perfect." And I heard a lot of people say, "You can't be perfect. You can't be perfect. There's no way you can never make a mistake." But you have to understand how to exegete and eisegete. You have to learn how to understand, to break down a word in the scriptures or any text, and also read the word within context of what they're discussing. So when you exegete and eisegete perfect in those scriptures, what they're talking about is being made whole. Be ye perfect, be ye whole, be ye complete, be ye satisfied, be ye fulfilled, be ye purposeful, even as your Father in heaven is purposeful or whole or complete. And when you look at it from that frame of mind, you know, yes, I can be perfect. It doesn't mean that you won't make mistakes, because a person that's whole may make mistakes, but they'll do whatever it takes quickly to go and rectify those issues. So let's say you've been sitting around feeling sad. I've done that. I've been sad. I've said to myself, nobody will help me with my business. Nobody will help me to be made whole. Nobody will help me get my life together. Nobody will hire me. And I had to think about the scripture where the man who was by the pool of Bethesda had been sick for 38 years. When Jesus walked past him and the man said, nobody will help me, he said, wilt thou be made whole? Are you willing to do what it takes to be healed? And the guy said, yeah, I am, but there's nobody to help me. He said, well, get up and help yourself. Rise up, pick up your bed and walk. People of God, men and women, pick up your bed. Lift up your feet and walk out of depression. Lift up your feet and walk out of not being fulfilled. Lift up your feet and walk into the newness of life. My former husband said something. He preached a sermon years ago, and he said when an elephant is a baby and is taken out the wild and is brought into captivity, the first thing they do is they put a chain around its leg, and they feed it with the chain on its leg. They nurture it with the chain on its leg. They rub on it, talk to him with his chain on his leg, and they also will have a fence. But then as it grows up, they are able to take the chain off his leg and even remove the fence. And that elephant who grew up in bondage will, with all those shackles removed and the fence removed, still stay in the area, even though the boundary is now an illusion, because it's no longer there. The gate is gone and the shackles off his foot, but he won't escape into freedom. He won't move. So what my former husband said is, I want to challenge you today to stop being like that elephant, because all the elephant had to do was lift up his leg and be free. So my brothers and sisters, lift up your leg and be free, and walk into your healing, walk into your purpose, walk into your wealth, walk into your health, walk into all those things that you need for your life, and stop being stagnant. Wilt thou be made whole? Are you willing to be made complete and fulfilled? There's nothing like having joy because you feel like a whole person. You don't feel fractured. You don't feel wounded. You don't feel controlled by what people in your past or even your present has done to you or doing to you now. Pick up your leg and be free and walk into your healing. Be made whole and complete. You feel like you're one. It's a wonderful feeling. It's so peaceful. You will feel so healthy. You will breathe better. You will move better. Your health will be better. Your emotions will be better. I remember I used to just break down in the middle of nowhere, out of nowhere, just start crying and didn't even know why. I was angry and didn't even know why. I would yell and didn't even know why. But once I healed, my breathing became better. My words became sweeter. My body felt better because I was moving and doing yoga, not quite Tai Chi, and exercising. And I started eating living foods and incorporating more raw fruits and vegetables because they're alive. They were feeding my cells and I felt better. I did what it took to heal my body. I fasted sometimes because when you fast, you repair your cells. The old cells will either die or be flushed out with water, or they will repair themselves. Friends, you have the opportunity to be made whole. This is the altar call. I know in your life you may have been wounded. Maybe your mother said things to you that was hurtful. Your father maybe did things, I don't know. Maybe a companion, a mate. Maybe you were assaulted and things just didn't go right in your life. I don't know. But I'm telling you today that if you avail yourself of healing, if you seek it out, if you say, I'm ready to be healed, if you say, I am ready to be made whole, then the universe will actually provide opportunities for you to be made whole. You just need to, once you see those opportunities, whether they come about or you have to seek them out, you have to walk into those places and do the work to be healed, to be whole, to be complete. Wilt thou be made whole? I want you to stand up literally, wherever you are, and say, I'm ready to be made whole. I am going to make the decision to take control of my life and be 100% healed. I promise you, the moment you make up your mind, the universe conspires to assist you. Does all she can to assist you. Be made whole. Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father in heaven or your mother in heaven is perfect, whole, and complete. That's all I have to say today. I love you. Take care. I'm going to go get my fruit smoothie so I can continue to remain whole. Good night.